I don't like offlane brew.
I love Tigo because he's really trying to find
I'm trying my best
He's like,
here.
there is a way this can work. I believe in some way that this might... I get it, right? We can't just be completely negative on it. But if something just doesn't make sense, at least Carl's face tells me it doesn't make sense.
Oh, no. Like, this brew... No.
It's, and I don't want to be unnecessarily harsh on Bait. Like, they're going through some growing pains. It is not easy to start a new Dota team at this time. It's arguably the most competitive the scene has ever been. And again, Dendi is trying to do so many different things at once. I respect him for trying, and I think that ultimately he's going to succeed because he's still an excellent human being and a fantastic Dota player. However, you can't do everything. I have tried to be a captain, leader, drafter from mid, and I almost lost my mind. Let alone trying to like run, do an organization on the back end too. So I really just want to see him give some more trust to LeBron specifically, because I think if they've been playing for this long, if you trust your 5 and your 5, like your 5 should be your captain. It's just how things should be. Offlaners can make shot calls, but at the end of the day, your 5 position has the least of requirement for optimizing their mechanical skill. Thus, they can spend the most time on drafting and or just hire a coach. I'll do it. I'll come in. I'll draft.
This was his master plan, by the way. It was put Bait in a corner and then go, I can coach you, lads.
I can help. That's saying. Carl's there, ready to be hired by anyone at this point.
You can't even get a tablet to work, Carl. How can we expect
I don't need to get a tablet to work. I just need to get the draft to work. That's the easy part.
But you can't even... Okay, you can't technically see a draft because you stole mine.
Exactly. So now how do you feel?
I feel
you were
great.
Already outwitted, and you're telling me I can't draft? Come on, T-Dub. Show the fans what your screen looks like.
Let me just load up something that I can't show them.
Exactly.
Oh, this one's...
What, did you just hack me? Okay, we're good.
Did I hack you?
It was black screen for a second. I was like, damn, T-Gov, all right. They just...
the
Luna.
hacking thing.
He really thinks you're so good at this like iPad magic. He can also hack him at the same time.
Anything Carl touches just goes to...
You have broken the iPads the most, Carl, I'll be honest.
Yeah, you've got a big...
That one was... that was on my chair. For all I know, T-Gov put it there after sabotaging it.
Okay, so we have opening up the second phase. They go for a Luna.
Double aura.
Double aura. It does look like they are going for a way out in a game, which is a nice... It's nice. It's refreshing to see because most of their drafts have this emptiness to it. It's... You can fight, sure. Can you really have that OG mentality or the previous patch mentality of taking fights constantly into successful areas? Not really, so...
It's a really good Rubik game. I like that pick up here. Against Luna, you're effectively always stealing Beam. And this is an old school classic. This draft looks like it's straight out of like Dendi's heyday back in 2013 or so, because we would see stuff like this a lot. This is like straight up TI4 finals, just death ball. Early team fight, try and stop us.
Can you make this work though, the way they're drafting?
I would, but they already showed the hand quite obviously when they have the Luna, and like look at the heroes that Prodigy have. All 3 of these heroes can push out a lane. So this death ball is pretty much already somewhat hindered or countered by the fact that your off lane and double support duo will be able to deal with this.
Yeah, it's one of those drafts that can be very effective if it's not countered. So it's very solid, but it's one-dimensional. Thus, if you pick the right answer to it, you kind of just stop it in its tracks. So currently, as an example, Timber saw in the pool. Medusa was banned out by VP.Prodigy, but that's another example. Kunkka, same concept. You just need this strong hero in the mid game. Kunkka is typically incredible against Luna because the boat buff allows you to survive through the beams, and you provide so much damage. The hero can't buy BKB too early on, or you end up falling off. So you just X the Luna, drop your spells, and she's dead.
A nice thing that Bait did do technically with the brew pick, moving into then like Luna and dying, is you kind of cover yourself from all the illusion heroes, which would be able to dismantle this type of push strat. We've already mentioned the fact that you have all this like wave clear and Prodigy, so if you had any illusion hero, it would just be that win condition for this team. So I can see how they clearly had an idea of, we want this type of draft, so we questioned the brew at the start, and now I can see why it's actually there in the pick. But it's Prodigy, they're playing 4 comfort heroes right now. That's the concern.
But for Bait, right, looking at what we're seeing picked here, it's not really on meta what we're seeing from the rest of the team. So yes, they're going for something out there, but are they maybe going too far out there?
I think there's elements that have been shown, right? So Undying in CIS region as 5 has been shown. Brewmaster has been played a couple of times by OG, for example, and Venge has been played very, like, in terms of together in a full draft, no, but elements have been shown.
The issue you have is that Brewmaster and Undying effectively fill the same role in your draft, which is for teamfight area control. Brew's a little more CC focused, but conceptually you're going to drop Tomb, you're going to use Brew Split, and you're going to try and fight. But the way you answer this is the same. You just run away.
Yeah.
And that's what this boat buff is going to allow you to do. The X back on the Luna. Luna ult also very long cooldown, same with the Brew. So Bait want to take this big team fight around in an area and are forced to utilize big cooldowns to make anything happen. Whereas on the side of VP.Prodigy, you have more of the on-meta stuff. What I liked Cinderen's word from the other day, cooldown machines. You know, X Torrents, like 10-second cooldown, Rubik Blast, whatever Rubik spell steals, the Grimstroke spells, Pango Q. So in these skirmishes, you know, there's not a damn thing you're going to be able to do as Bait, because it's either blow your cooldowns and pray for a team fight, or you're just going to lose a hero.
And then you touch on that as well. It's like the fact that you have the fact that they can always keep the lanes out, so their ability to play the map will always be present, right? Like Bait, they're going to be pretty slow. Like Luna needs a couple items to be able to push out waves. Brew can, but it's very slow still. Like if they ever want to make a move, they need to think about it 2 minutes in advance, rather than how quick Prodigy can just do that.
You reminded me why I've felt Undying's just not good right now, but I didn't know why. And it's, as you said, he doesn't kill creep waves. Neither does Venge. So assuming this is your support duo, although we did see OG play this Venge mid, that was with the Mirana, and it was a much stronger concept, I feel. Neither one of these supports can really do anything but run at enemy heroes. So if your laning phase doesn't go very well, you find yourself lost, because there's nothing you can really get done around the map. I love the Weaver. Again, quick cooldown machine hero. There's no lockdown for Weaver right now. And I'm not sure what your last pick here is to sort of find that answer, because right now Bait's entire lineup is on a cooldown timer.
But yeah, and the fact they don't have lockdown, they rely heavily on, I think, the Tombstones staying alive for that slow, right? Now you have Weaver to be able to kill the Tombstone off, and Bait pretty much double down on that kind of, we want to leave laning phase and just try and move towards our objectives. Am I a fan of it? Unfortunately, not so much.
To me, when it comes to looking at this draft, right, it just seems like VP.Prodigy are playing towards their strengths, and then Bait are trying something that they believe will work, but it doesn't seem to be any way of like a counter.
I think for Bait, it's just they're trying to get to a position in which they can play out a game where they can see an end result. It's like, we can win the game at this time, because that's where they felt most lost, honestly.
It's like a concept album, right? They're trying to make a concept draft work. Unfortunately, I feel like VP.Prodigy is just potentially the strongest team in this tournament, and they've gone with something very standard and very, very strong. And Bait's lineup's just too slow. They're going to get eaten apart. And unless they can utterly dominate lanes, take all these towers, and get a huge fight around Roche, like they need to just so many things to go right. And I just don't think it's going to happen.
How do you then end up with a draft like this? How do you not try and learn from something like this?
If they did learn, this is something new. We haven't seen this from them. It's just...
We don't see an AA on Bait. That's the main thing. I think
AA mid's good.
All right, we've got our commentators ready now, guys.
So DP or something.
I'm going to get the magic answer from you. I think I know what it's going to be. Are we going VP.Prodigy all the way, you two?
Yeah, Prodigy, mate. Yeah.
Prodigy all the way. I could have guessed it,
Prodigy,
right?
mate.
Prodigy, mate. Yeah. Prodigy, mate. Let's go. Next game too. You know what I mean?
There's locked up. I can't do any.
Trying your best.
T-Gubs is pretty good, all things considered, considering you come from the posher areas. You don't really learn our
middle class.
Middle class. Okay.
Yeah.
Still, far way above where I am on it all. But we've got Sunsfan and Cinderen standing by for this one. It seems like VP.Prodigy all the way, but what did you guys make of it all? Is there more of a chance of what our analysts are saying here for Bait?
Did you guys watch Bait the other day?
Oh my God! Welcome to the broadcast.
Stop being so mean.
Sunsfan here with Cinderen. Hello, everybody.
Damn.
Well, I will say this, Cinderen. VPP, the other day we cast them, they put on a very impressive performance against Hellraisers. Bait, I guess the positive way to look at them is they have a lot to prove. They have nowhere to go but up, because the last time we cast them, that was pretty bad. I don't think there's any other way to dissect it.
Yeah, we don't need to sugarcoat it. They were definitely not playing well. Their drafts were not very, how to say, there wasn't really any clear game plan or synergy that seemed like they were playing towards. Sometimes they maybe had some picks that would work well together, but they didn't seem like they were trying to play toward their strengths as much. And I mean, it's understandable, right? You've just brought in 2 new players. You're trying to mesh. It's going to take a bit of time, so I'll cut them a bit of slack for that, obviously. As far as the series goes, we're making it sound like Bait are out, which is actually not the case. They can still mathematically get a tie for 4th. I think it's technically possible that they can get a tie. They need to win their remaining games, and then we need some other results to go an exact way, which is actually not out of the question what needs to happen. So they still have a lot to play for. And regardless, play to improve. Prove that you're better than you were in your last series, because I mean, I agree with you. There's only one way in that setup. That was probably the lowest low they've been last series we saw.
Well, that's the thing. Like I think we've cast them multiple times, and they haven't really looked that bad. I mean, they've lost a lot, but the games haven't been like complete blowouts. The other day was just something. I don't know what was going on with them, but
and then
we can focus on today's games.
On the flip side, we had Prodigy, right, who we had cast 1 or 2 series, and they were really good, and then they really got tested against Hellraisers, and we thought they were going to lose, and then they pulled a really crazy comeback in game 3 in a 60-minute game. So they definitely can go the stretch and make it happen even in the really difficult games, which is, a trait of a very good team is recovering from 90% losses, which that game basically was. Like, it was almost over, and they somehow managed to pull a win out of the bag. So,
and this feels like the first game we've ever cast where DM is not playing Mars. He's been just spamming the crap out of that.
Pugna and lost.
No, I know. It was a little facetious, but or exaggerating.
I know.
I don't know if we've seen him play Pango, though. I'd have to look back.
I know he has been playing it, but I don't think we cast a game with him playing Pango.
Actually, he might have played Pango in the game 2 of the first series we ever cast, because we were mentioning the fact that his Mars was so impressive. He would jump in, he'd be the initiator, and then the Pango doesn't really fill that same role, right?
I think you're right. He did play 1 Pango. I think you're right. And he lost that game, right? I think so.
Yeah. But looking at their lineup, how do you like the composition from each respective side?
This reminds me a lot of a series I cast yesterday with Toby, actually, where it was OG versus Nigma, and OG had these like super fast low cooldown heroes, and Nigma had way more cooldown reliant heroes. And what would happen was Nigma would use their big spells and maybe win a team fight slightly or draw it, and then right after, OG would just run over them. Spartan is dead bottom.
Bottom lane, by the way, he's super dead.
This lane is insanely strong. Weaver Grimstroke is a crazy lane. So what would happen was, once those big team fight cooldowns were used, OG just played super aggressive. And this is the exact same thing that can happen here. The Radiant have tons of heroes that have low cooldowns that are really impactful in the early mid game. And the Dire, they have Reaper Scythe, Primal Split, Eclipse. When these spells are down, those heroes are not that strong in fights. And the Radiant is just going to be online nonstop. So I'm a bit concerned for Bait that I can see exactly what the plan of their draft is. I know what they're trying to accomplish with this death ball kind of style. But if they don't convincingly win all of the fights they take, they're playing against a power play effectively for 2 minutes every single time they've tried to do something. Because when they have big cooldowns, they can't fight. I just don't see it.
I mean, you could even add, I don't know if you mentioned it, but Tombstone as well. It's not an... we talked about this last time. It's not an ultimate, but it kind of is for Undying.
That's fair.
But yeah, in this lane in the top, we're watching Luna, Undying versus Pango and Rubik. I love to hear like your analysis on what should come out on top on each specific lane, because I don't typically see a ton of Undying Luna paired up together.
It's a pretty strong lane. I would definitely say Bait should be winning this lane. Pango is not a very strong laner. Rubik is pretty good, but usually Rubik's strength comes from laning together with an offlaner that can run at the enemy carry, and they can fight them together. But Undying is this wall in front of the Luna, so they can't really get in. So I am expecting Excalibur to win this lane on CS. They're still going to get good levels on Prodigy, because like as good as the Bait lane is at fighting back, it's not very good at taking its own initiative, right? There's no stuns or slows.
And that was very risky. Swashbuckles to try to take off the health cell. I believe he missed. And he's going to get chased down here. Decay up in 3 seconds. Excalibur. The Lucent Beam in a couple seconds as well. And he's just delaying the inevitable. LeBron able to take that for himself. Oh, it looks like Venge died in the bot lane as well, though.
Yeah.
So 1 for 1 across the entire map.
I I would not want to play 5 Venge against this lane. Let me tell you, that's.
Would
rough.
you like
I don't know
to
if
play
he's
5
technically
Venge
5
against anything? You seem to really hate that in that last cast.
I think 5 Venge against this top lane, for example, would be okay. It would be playable. But yeah, Weaver Grimstroke is a nasty lane. That's really, really difficult to do. You're going to see it again here. They're going to go on to Skylark. Good damage.
Yeah, Inkswell connects.
Huh. I'm surprised Aina went 2-0-1 build instead of 1-0-2, actually, considering how reliable his Inkswell is in this lane.
Oh, that's a good point. We're seeing a lot of people max the Inkswell, although it was somewhat nerfed in recent patches. Shikuchi is there, but Spartan and Skylark will be healthy enough to survive. What about the mid lane? We got FN on the Kunkka versus Dendi's Necrophos. How does this matchup
favorite lane
go? How hard?
The way Kunkka wins the lane usually is by constantly pressuring with Tidebringer, but because Necro has this natural influx of constant HP regen when he gets CS, and because Kunkka has to melee to get creeps, he can always take Death Pulse trades. And
Luna fell, and now the chase is onto LeBron. You talked about how they should be winning this lane on bait. They did get the kill on Pango earlier, but you can't lose your Luna there.
Oh, it's a little bit of a power spike for Prodigy when both heroes hit level 3. It's a big upgrade in damage. Luna is relatively fragile, but still, with 800 max HP and a stick, you shouldn't die with Undying covering you. So I didn't see the play in question, but it shouldn't happen.
Bottom lane, though, Epileptic Kid, he's going to have Inkswell apply. Spartan pops the Fairy Fire, but a couple more right clicks will do it. As Skylark does have Thunderclap. Epileptic Kid, Shikuchi up in 1 second, can actually steal this bounty. We'll pop the Fairy Fire in addition. So getting some nice trades there overall. But in terms of Kunkka, I mean, he can always kind of, Tidebringer down Dendi very low there. He can always go back to the jungle and catch up that way, right?
I don't know if my view on this lane is a little bit outdated, because obviously as patches change, denies and everything,
he's winning.
Some lanes swing. I would say right now, FN is very high on my list of mechanical mid laners. I think he's really good. So if he beats Dendi in this matchup, there's no guarantee that this is indicative of how this lane will always go. Because it can be outplaced. FN has extraordinary performances once in a while on his mid lane. So
he's got the double bracers, so he's a mega tank, despite nerfs to that item as well. Looks like Spartan might be attempting to come gank, but FN able to take the illusion rune. Top lane in the meantime, Luna is going to get help with the tombstone. There's the Lucent Beam of follow. Soul Rip as well. DM should be good. Ends up just being a little bit of harassment there. That is the level 1 tombstone right now.
Wonder if we're going to see DM buy up some raindrops here. Seems like a pretty good lane to have it against. I know they can take it away with beam, but at the same time, if you have raindrops, you actually might have an aggressive play as a possibility. But it's also money spent. Oh, he is sending them out now. Okay, he did buy raindrops. I like it.
Well, doesn't somebody else on their team have one? I guess they can't because of the cooldown. Oh yeah, Grimstroke does. Maybe he's waiting for the cooldown. Possibly. FN in the mid lane, 40 and 8 versus the 35 and 7 Dendi. So like you said, just a little bit of an advantage there. In terms of levels, about a half level lead right now. He has been going to the jungle, as Kunkkas will do from time to time. DM's getting relatively close to 6 here. My question is, as this game gets into like the later stages of
Dendi trouble mid,
X marks it, but we're gonna have double TPs come in. Looks like Necro will live, and the 2 TPs, one of them was canceled, so it's just gonna be LeBron executing that.
You were saying
Excalibur alone? I don't remember, dude.
Top lane, I think you were talking about DM.
Yeah, sure. I have the memory of a goldfish, Cinder.
You're talking about him being close
bottom
to
lane,
6,
Cinder. We're just going to talk about the action, all right? Vengeful Spirit dead. Epileptic Kid does fall, though. And Kunkka in the mid lane goes down. I believe that's to the Reaper's Scythe, yes. So some nice kills here for Bait. And now the Primal Split is popped for Ein. I would assume he'll be able to get this kill one way or the other, as that Fire Panda is right-clicking pretty damn hard. And there's a stun. So 3 dead across the map right now for Bait.
Brewmaster is mega online. He's level 7 and Weaver's level 5. This is a big deal. Like, obviously
winning that lane until that point, weren't they?
Yes, they were definitely winning the lane. I think the main thing is the deaths were on the Venge, who's low level, and Skylark got a lot of solo XP for it, so he got this opportunity. But the big kill is the first one he got on the Weaver. It gave him level 6 so that he can snowball it into a secondary kill. So nicely done there from Skylark in the bot lane. And a 2k gold lead from Prodigy is now down to almost nothing all of a sudden. That went quick. Ah, now they got 1k back. It's all 1k swing
Epileptic Kid. He will get time lapse here with the next creep, so that could help in the future rounds here. Top lane though, we can see Rolling Thunder onto 2. Excalibur does have Eclipse. Might be able to take out Save without using anything though. Taking heavy damage from the Swashbuckle. Spartan is here as well. Looks like the Brew will die bottom. Everybody dying across the map simultaneously this game. It's a 1-for-2 across the board. Save. Lucent Beam will finish him off. So 2-for-2, even trade in terms of numbers. But lots of action here.
I'm curious to see what's going to happen mid now as well, now that Dendi got that solo kill. He's level 9, and this is a big boost, obviously. Going for a Greaves build, it looks like. We'll be trying to transition into this Death Ball style where he gets Greaves, somebody else maybe gets Pipe, and they try to push high ground at minute 20-ish. So he's definitely right on track here. Brewmaster looking for Vlad's first, another aura item. Yeah, maybe Dendi has to buy them both, actually. We'll see.
Yeah, well, Dendi, with that kill, definitely took the lead in terms of both the levels and the net worth, although net worth is a little bit slight here. FN gets the X marks the spot in the top bounty rune area, along with the boat coming in. Just going to be able to finish off this. Okay, never mind.
Nope.
I thought the Swashbuckle would be more than enough, but level 3 right now, so not quite. One thing that I've noticed, this is very early on, mind you, but it feels like Bait are not grouping up nearly as much as they were the other day. And I thought that was, and we talked about this in that cast, that was just something that they were, for whatever reason, just doing for both games that they played. They would just follow each other around, had no purpose, but it's looking a lot better than it has.
Yeah, this is definitely an upgrade from the last time. I think it's been 2 days since we cast them last. So
yeah. Eclipse is actually there to take out the Pango before the Undying dies. It still will be a 1-for-1, but Excalibur will attempt to TP out. This is going to be pretty close, but the Shikuchi is enough damage to take him to the grave.
Watching Excalibur, he's holding on to 2 skill points right now. Debating, I guess, whether he wants to get the Glaives or the Blessing. I think at this point in the game, getting the Glaives and going jungle and leaving this top lane to Venge would be a nice play. Spartan is starved. He's so poor. 1k net worth, level 5. He doesn't get the tome. It went to Undying, I think.
But he got the
he really needs to get a game. Yeah, he will get boots now at least, but... Oh, the book was actually his. Okay, Undying hadn't used it yet. He traded it over. So they're both level 6. That's not bad.
All right. Yeah.
This game is not so
level 1 Venge swap. Everyone's favorite skill.
You're underrating the spell.
I mean, you know, we should make a tier list of level 1 ultimates. I think your opinion and mine would be not nearly the same.
I know. Because you would be wrong a lot, and I would be right a lot.
How often am I right? And that's the real question. Bottom lane, we're going to see the tombstone placed.
That was unlucky. He had level 1 swap only, so he couldn't catch that guy. If he had level 3 swap and Boots of Travel, he could have got him.
I mean, you can't deny that the range on swap level 1 is abysmal. I mean, look at it.
700. It's pretty good.
That's abysmal.
Okay.
Position 5, that's so hard to get off.
It's called balance. You should focus on that on your custom game.
No, that's actually the opposite of what I'm focusing on. But thank you, Cinder, for the advice. FN, there's smoked heroes here looking for the gank. FN's actually positioning himself quite nicely. I don't know if he's aware of what's going on or if he's just going for these jungle
absolutely
creeps.
is.
It's all telestrated here.
I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? Bait were just bottom pushing there, so they're all vanished from bot. They didn't even leave a hero Spartan to push the tier 2.
Gets the swap off, and looks like he's potentially just going to die, but his teammates are in the vicinity. He gets the soul rip heal, but he's just going to go down regardless. DM is going to pop the Rolling Thunder, go on top of LeBron, and that looks to be the second kill here. That was a really odd fight. Looks like Venge just wanted to fight and everybody else was kind of just chilling.
So they don't have follow-up, right? If he swaps somebody, what's your follow-up? It's your own Venge stun and then a Lucent Beam? You need to commit big ultis if you want to fight. It has to be set up in a place where the enemy team has to come to you. I don't think going for a swap up here makes much sense. If you want a team fight, go to their tower. Go push this mid tier 1, drop a tombstone, have Necro tank the tower, and get something started. This Necro is a really hard kill for the Radiant. He has 1600 health and a mech. You're not going to burst that guy when he has Undying and Venge behind him with saves. So
top lane, Inkswell again with the Phantom's Embrace, and Spartan will die again. So that is, he's actually 6 deaths. Well, I didn't realize it was that. I thought I was going to say it was like 3. 6 deaths, my goodness.
That's his assists.
He's struggling. Yeah, that is true. Well, I didn't even look at it. It was a pure guess, Cinderin.
I know.
It's not misreading. As tier 1 tower now will
there
take
comes
some
the
damage.
Push.
Yeah.
But this time around, they're not together, and they were before. So I think before, this play made a lot more sense a minute ago when they were all there. And now they're like, oh, this is what we should have done, so now we're going to do it. But Luna isn't there this time. Venge is pretty far away. Let's see if Prodigy try to mount a defense here. Grimstroke is doing a really good job together with Rubik. Just these 2 supports constantly wave clearing can buy so much time. Like Fade Bolt plus Stroke of Fate kills a wave.
They're defending against 3 heroes with very little resources being used. This bottom lane, Eclipse, was doing massive damage, but DM is able to get off his Rolling Thunder, and Excalibur looks super dead if they're able to get 1 swashbuckle. Well, he gets about a half swashbuckle. That was technically enough. Tier 1 tower, though, will fall finally in favor of Bait. So they will get something out of this, but as I was talking about, it looks like they're just grouping up a little too much again, because the trades just aren't there. 4K net worth lead from VPP right now in the pretty early stages.
I think, once again, they didn't necessarily have the wrong idea. I just don't think they forced it enough. You see, now that they got this mid tower, they felt confident having Necro tank it and hit it because the Pango showed bottom with, I think it was Grimstroke, so they knew those, or whoever it was. There were 2 heroes bot. But I think they could have done this anyway. Like, if Dandy goes and hits this tower, how is the enemy team possibly going to kill him? You have Swap, you have Soul Rip, you have a Tombstone you can place down. It's a bit too slow, right? It's the right idea, but you need that confidence to make the play quicker and finish it off.
Top lane, we're going to see another Inkswell combo. Will they actually have enough to take him out? He does have a Maelstrom, and yes. No Primal Split for you, my friend. We've only seen one of those so far.
You guys want MMR? Play this lane.
Yeah, it's kind of disgusting. What level is Inkswell? It is level 4 now, so he did end up maxing it. I'm not sure if he finished that before the Stroke of Fate or not. Do you know?
I think, well, when I clicked him, he was level 9 and he was 414. So he leveled them both before ults, but I don't know the order. I think he was 302 or
again. Into the boat. Spartan not able. I was not able to die this time.
Good job.
Not quite enough damage from Kunkka this time around. We'll be going for a BKB right after. Of course, he does have the armlet. What do you think of that build? Very defensive, very fight heavy.
Yeah, it's fight heavy. It's good. Usually Kunkkas will buy Halberd, but he doesn't see enough value in it because all he would be disarming is a Luna, who isn't dangerous yet. So the BKB instead, he can ignore the Eclipse, he can ignore Reaper's Scythe, and just get in their front line for his team, give vision, catch heroes. I like it.
Seems like a very smart choice this game. Now the question is, what do you go after that on a Kunkka? Do you go for...
I'll Daedalus this game. I think it's fine.
Just
AC.
Like right up to Daedalus? Okay.
AC or Daedalus, I think.
So the days of Radiance is a first item if you go it, right?
Yeah, getting Radiance third just sounds weak.
Yeah.
You're missing the time that it's really strong at that point. Unless you're against some sort of illusion hero that is starting to come online, then maybe, or... But even then, a lot of the time, Shiva would be better. If you're like 25, 30 minutes into the game, it might be better to go that route.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do believe that VPP, although they are pushing the bot lane, it's not with that many resources. In fact, it's going to bring 4 players from Bait to this vicinity. But my guess is VPP is waiting for not only the BKB on Kunkka, but DM Spirit Vessel, which is only 200 away, which is going to be unbelievable against the Necrophiliacs.
They see DM because
does
of
have
Luna.
Guardian Greaves. Oh, you're right. The extra night vision for the win. Is he able to get off Rolling Thunder? He is. So away he goes and save.
Why not?
You mean after the Rolling Thunder or before?
No, before.
No.
I don't know. I think they could
tell
have got that kill. Well, maybe they were worried there was more backup coming in. Or Spartan is tired of dying. Who knows?
It's like, F this. Dandy getting brought pretty low in the mid lane. Does have Greaves, of course. And we'll use it in conjunction with his Ghost Shroud. And they'll smoke up right after. So Reaper Scythe, of course, available. Skylark still itching to use his Primal Split for the second time. We'll try to get it off, but gets silenced. Telekinesis, actually. Inkswell will actually connect on 3 heroes, but the Reaper Scythe is enough. So that's the kill for Bait, and they probably want a little bit more here as Excalibur in the bot lane is going to find DM, and more reinforcements are on the way. TP is up, though, for DM if he gets another Swashbuckle into the trees, but he's going to come back right into the lane. Swashbuckle into TP. Whoa. Okay. That was a good attempt. Wave of Terror was already down, so I don't think there's any way they would have gotten Vision there anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice for Bait to get a Reaper Scythe kill, right? But it's on the position. It's on the position 5 Grim, technically 4 in this game. I suppose he's just that rich. But you know, it's the thing from before with you used Flesh Golem and you used Reaper. So how strong are you really right now? It looks like Prodigy are still gonna respect them and not give them this fight. Or maybe they want to show up. They're a little bit late to the party here. Taking the outpost so that the Grim can TP in, and then they're going to open up.
Yeah, that's going to be a double outpost for VPP, adding insult to injury. They do give that tier 2, like you said. Tombstone is placed. FN with the X marks. Boat just came off cooldown.
Just run away if you want.
If they want to fight now, they could. They've positioned themselves to block off Bait completely here. Shikuchi, Epileptic Kid pops the BKB, Rolling Thunder incoming, Soulbind onto 2. They're going to try to focus down this Luna, and they'll do so very successfully. A 2-for-1 as Rubik is the one to fall on VPP's side. They take out the Tombstone in quick succession as Spartan and now Dendy on the run. Let's see who they focus. That is another death for poor Spartan, my boy. And Skylark was still there with his Primal Split. It's going to get silenced up and completely surrounded here. And that looks like it'll be a 4-for-1 to end this fight.
Yep. Prodigy hit a really strong initiation here. Weaver's BKB came as a surprise. Bait wasn't ready for that. He runs in, he gets ink swelled, and they get a nice Pango ult. And what was really nice about this play from them was that instead of taking the fight at their tier 2, which was already forfeit, they take the outpost so that Grim can TP in and you can get a 5-on-5. Bait used Tombstone defensively. They just reassess the situation. They chill. If Bait try to TP out, they're going to get caught by Kunkka and Rubik. And if they don't, eventually you get to take the fight on your terms. You just wait for the right moment to present itself. And nicely done from Prodigy. I actually really like the way they set up that fight. It's my favorite play of the game. I think just the way they used the outposts was solid.
Yeah, that was actually perfect timing. So Kunkka, I'm not sure if he had BKB that fight, but he didn't use it if he did. But either way, the 10-second one is up for him. And like you mentioned, Epileptic hit, so they're looking pretty strong. 4 charges on Spirit Vessel for DM during that fight. That was another perfect timing there.
Yeah. Necro has 1 item against this in the Greaves, which means if the Greaves are used, this Vessel will become very, very powerful. Both his heal and the Undying heal, obviously, on top of him. That will be lowered by a lot. DM should be fine here. And the problem is right now, right? It's one thing to be 10,000 gold behind minute 22, which is a really big disadvantage. But if you look at the overarching strategy here, will Bait be able to go high ground in this game anymore? Like, is there a time that they can feel strong enough to get there? Can they force a Roche fight so they can get an advantage going into high ground? Or can they somehow just go this mid tier 2 tower and find a good fight or whatever? Because in my mind, the game is getting harder every minute right now. You picked this massive mid-game lineup and you lost fights. You don't really have much to fall back on now. It's tough times.
Yeah, I mean, technically speaking, they do have, I mean, a little bit of push if they win a fight.
Yeah.
Especially when Luna starts to get even more farm. But she's sitting on a freshly picked up BKB, double Wraithband into Drum of Endurance. We'll be going for an Aghanim Scepter, so just going heavy magic damage. And part of that obviously depends on these BKBs being used, so on the side of VPP. So perhaps expecting this game to go another 20 minutes when all of those will dissipate down to 5. But Roshan will be a freebie for VPP, and Epileptic Kid takes the the Aegis form still.
The whole situation in the game also largely comes back to what the panel was talking about before the game started, which is Bait's heroes don't wave clear very well. Undying Weaver are two of the worst supports that are picked right now in terms of killing creeps. So your other three heroes are on creep killing duty a lot. And if they're on creep killing duty, struggling with pushing out lanes, how are you ever going to group up? Like, that's kind of the issue here, right? So they are always getting counterplayed just on wave clear, and there's 2 kill spot right now. Easy picks for Prodigy with Kunkka, getting both.
Yeah, and that's even more Spirit Vessel charges for the win on DM. Who will be going for a Grease of his own, has a hood right now. So looking quite nice for VPP. Of course, on the side of Bait, Dendi does have enough for his relic going towards the Radiance. Do you think that, how big of an impact will that have once that's picked up? Is that any kind of a power spike that they can try to fight with?
Oh, wait a second.
Epileptic Kid, he is being...
There's nothing happening.
He's just harassing. He's going to time lapse out if he's able to get... Oh, wait. All right. Mset dodging the stun. It's going to be... Epileptic is just going to use his Aegis, it looks like, but it might cost Luna his life. DM, the Rolling Thunder goes off. Will he actually go into the base? The Spirit Vessel is still applied, and my goodness, the Grimstroke range is enough to take out Excalibur. Swap is there, but the Undying looks like he's going to be the second to drop in this engagement. In the base of Bait, they're just crumbling. A 3-for-1 is now Dendi on the run. Has the Essence Ring, so...
Remember when I said nothing's going to happen here?
Yeah.
Nothing should have happened there, but it did. And that's...
It looked like a poking and prodding from Weaver.
Yeah.
And it just ended up turning into a team fight that benefited VPP.
It's the similar problem from before. It's just awkward. They have to... If this one Weaver starts the fight and the enemy team starts using cooldowns, you're using these big team fight cooldowns, which is all you have. If they're not used really perfectly, you run out of steam so fast. And yeah, Excalibur dying to that Stroke of Fate doesn't help the case, of course. That's way worse. But yeah, just completely outplayed.
I mean, he was getting chased down by Rolling Thunder, and pretty sure he would have died anyway.
Yeah, BKB the whole time. He didn't want to use it.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I thought he'd used that in the beginning. 10-second BKB is still there. Interesting.
I understand that he's being stingy with it. Like, he really wants to use it perfectly. But that's kind of the name of the game for them, right? Have to use everything perfectly. Here. Oh, Tombstone was going to be placed, but he just gets silenced and destroyed. Jesus. But what do you think in this game of the Aghanims on Luna that he is pursuing right now against all these BKBs? And the fact that you're so reliant on these long cooldown ults to begin with. Would you agree with this build at all? I don't see a better choice anymore. I don't think this is, like, ideally, this item could have been really good if everything else in the game came together with their strategy and timings, right? Let's say they were 5,000 gold behind right now, and they get a Radiance and they get a Luna Egg. Suddenly, you have a fighting chance, but the mountain is just, it's too much to climb now. Whatever item you buy on Luna isn't going to feel good enough. Like, you could buy a Butterfly or, you know, the classic carry Luna builds, and it's still... You're still just too far behind. Just to be clear, and I think the vast majority of everything that's happening in this game is really coming back to wave clear issues and long cooldowns in the same lineup. I think playing Dota like this right now is extremely difficult at a pro level. You have to... What's the best way of explaining this? It's like you're spending the whole game solving problems. I think that's the best way I can put it. You never get to be the one in the driver's seat. You're always plumbing these holes that get created everywhere on the map. Like, oh, now someone has to push out bottom. Now someone has to push out mid. And all your lineup wants to do is, let's please just group up as 5. And you get these like 10-second windows to do it. And then you have to go back and defend all the time. Makes things very complicated.
These holes. One of the best quotes of all time from Synderin.
Thank you.
I love it. I'm going to put that on my gravestone. Plumbing these holes. So VPP, of course, did lose the Aegis, but have the 17k net worth lead right now. Mjolnir is on Epileptic Kid, is going towards a Lincoln Sphere for that pesky Reaper Scythe. Hasn't really been an issue as of yet. Dendi, I believe Radiance is on the... Yeah, he does finish Radiance right now, so this, I suppose, is the time to fight for Bait. They have to get something good here. Spartan taking heavy damage from afar. This is the reason I love Pango, by the way, in conjunction with Grimstroke. You can just do damage from so far away. You don't have to commit for anything. Just chip damage here and there. And if you don't have the sustain, which they do have a little bit, of course, in the form of Necro and Undying, but still, when you're this far behind, it's hard to get back when you're taking damage before a fight even begins.
I mean, it's definitely a really nice lineup from Prodigy here. It's not a coincidence that this team is doing way better than Bait, not just with how they're playing individually, but like their grasp of the meta and of how to tie a lineup together right now. I'm just way more in agreement with how Prodigy are drafting in general. All of the games we've watched, I've seen what they're trying to do. I've seen where they're coming from. That isn't to say that they're flawless. Like, for example, we talked about the draft that they had the other day with the Pugna and DM that we didn't like as much as what they were facing. But for the most part, they've been pretty stable, where for Bait, I'm still waiting for that draft that makes me go, hell yeah. Like, I haven't seen it yet.
Good jump on top of Ein, but it's the other way around now as Brewmaster is getting perma-stunned. The boat will finish him off before his ult goes down, and Dendi dies instantly, followed by Excalibur's Luna. And even though Bait had the jump on them, they just couldn't initiate before the reaation from VPP came out.
Right, when I said good jump, I meant I didn't mean Bait. I didn't mean to make them look bad. It just came out of my mouth. I just wanted to say that was a good reaction to the jump. An instant lift from Rubik onto the Brewmaster as he jumped in to try to get split.
Very fast fingers.